All right, welcome back. The trending story today was Antonio Brown, who pulled a new kind of walk-off. He went from Mr. Big Chest to Mr. Bare Chest, left the stadium, went onto a plane, got out of New York as fast as possible. I've never seen anything like it. Jeff, I want to ask you about this. Bruce Arians knew what he was getting into. Bruce Arians twice had to be talked into bringing in Antonio Brown. He knew he didn't want him. Brady said, bring him in. They did. Vax card problems could be a federal offense, and yet he's brought back in. If he's upset about not getting a chance to hit bonuses, it's on him and him alone. He missed 3 games because of his stupidity. What was your take on what you saw today?
I think it's just more Antonio Brown, and we see it in a public forum. You've probably seen stuff like that if you've been in practice or in locker rooms. For those who are his teammates, they've seen crazy stuff like this. I think 2 things about Antonio Brown. He's not accountable for his own actions, and he's just a selfish person that can't handle when someone says no to him or tells him, or he doesn't think he's the greatest anymore. That's what you're seeing happen in front of you. It's a guy that doesn't have the accountability. He can't handle it. He's had too many enablers around him his entire life. And you know what? I know Tom Brady said, feel empathy for him. And people can have their own opinions. But does Tom Brady really feel for this guy? Because if he did, wouldn't he have made him, check in with a doctor to get help? Or did he bring him in to try to win a championship for himself? That's why Antonio Brown keeps getting opportunities. Not because people feel sorry for them and they want to put him under his wing. They think he can win a championship. That's why they bring him in. And you know what? I'll almost bet you he'll get another chance.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't think he's going to get another chance at 32 and doing what he's did. But the bottom line is Antonio Brown just clowned Tom Brady, and I don't think Tom Brady liked that very much. He don't know what else to say at that point. But you're right. I mean, there's something wrong with Antonio Brown, and we've known that for the past 3 or 4 years. You hope he goes get some help, and things will work out that way. However, how he did it today, he did nothing but be a total horse's behind. How he went about it and took the clothes off and waved by in peace, that's just him being a jack, you-know-what. That's what he is. That's what he acted like. And no help with therapy is going to be that. That's just the way he is. And I hate to say that about him because from year like 2010 to about 2017, you could work with him, you could deal with him. Something happened in 2018 that changed his whole mind and his whole process.
But he was selfish his entire career, even before that. He missed so many shows he was promised to do on, Josh. I mean, responsibility. Regardless of what happened in 2018 and Burfict's hit that, fine, I get that. But he was irresponsible before that.
Yeah, I wouldn't dismiss the fact that he does have mental health issues. I think he does. But he's also an egomaniac. And he's also just a complete idiot. I mean, he just is. What was he, Mark? 5 catches and 50 yards away from $1 million bonus? I think he could have used that maybe. I mean, it was extraordinary. And, we were all watching. I was in the Penguins press box this afternoon. The Penguins were on the verge of blowing a 6-1 lead in the 3rd period. And we were all watching our laptops, watching AB instead in the 3rd period of the Penguins game because it was captivating, as he always is. But, even though we were all kind of entertained by it, I found myself feeling sad about the whole situation. This is one of the greatest football players we've ever seen. I don't know if he's going to get into the Hall of Fame or not. I suspect he will, but he's a Hall of Fame talent. There's no question about that. This extraordinary player, and this is what it comes to, just walking off the field and taking your jersey off in the middle of an NFL game. I don't know that we've ever seen anything like it. It was like the conclusion of Slapshot, only the game wasn't over. It's just a sad end to really a bizarre few chapters at the end of his career. There's never been anything like it, and I hope we don't ever see anything quite like this again because there's nothing good about this story.
Mark, let me ask you this, Hall of Fame. With regard to Antonio Brown, I'm of the belief, I'm one of these people who think you should be judged by what you do on the field. I think Barry Bonds should be in. I think Pete Rose should be in. I think Antonio Brown is a Hall of Famer. Do you still believe that? I think
you look at those 6 years, there's nobody that had those numbers like he had for those 6 years. And not only that is the big plays he made in big-time situations. There was nobody better than him. But there's some old crotchety guys in that Hall of Fame room, and they're going to hold this against him. So if he does get in, it's going to be down the road, Drew Pearson-like. I don't think that's a slam dunk anytime through his first 5 or 10 years. But look at those numbers, those 6 years, spectacular.
Jeff?
Sorry, I think his numbers are ridiculously good. I can't divorce myself from some of the things he's done, the way he's treated people, the way he's treated teammates, the way he's treated coaches. I think that factors in. The Hall of Fame isn't something that you are automatically put into. It's something you have to earn. I don't think of the entire body of his work, and not all of it has been off the field. As we saw today, what happened was on the field or in the clubhouse. I think that does factor, and that takes nothing. Listen, this guy worked harder than anybody for years, building his career. The problem is, his ego got in the way, his lack of accountability got in the way, and I wouldn't vote him in the Hall of Fame.
His legacy is a very confusing one. It really is. But to me, he's one of the 10 best receivers in the history of the sport. I really believe that. And Mark made a good point. In big games, when games are on the line, I still remember the classic playoff game in Cincinnati when Ben was playing with one arm, 4th down. Who do you look for? Antonio Brown. And he made the play like he always did. I'd vote him in. Terrell Owens was a jerk, too. The only difference between Terrell Owens and Antonio Brown is Terrell Owens is a lot smarter. I think they're basically the same person otherwise. Hall of Fame is filled with lots of unsavory people. O.J. Simpson's in the Hall of Fame. I think Antonio Brown should be in, but, man, I don't remember many athletes whose legacies were more confusing than his.
Very much so. All right, guys, thanks on that topic. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Penguins, the red-hot Penguins. You might have forgotten over the 2-week lull that they had won 7 in a row. Make it 8. We'll talk about it next right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.